Hi, Shabbat Shalom. Today's the 4th of July, and it doesn't always fall on Shabbat, but on Shabbat, when it falls, I like to tell a story. And that story is about myself in a way, because it was around July 4th, 71 years ago, that my parents came to this country, and I was born a couple of weeks after that. I have my birthday coming up on the 17th. And in our family, July 4th was always celebrated with great pomp and circumstance. Particularly, we love to visit the Statue of Liberty every year on that date, on July 4th. So it means a great deal to me. And it was suggested by a wonderful colleague and teacher of mine, Rabbi Arthur Waskow, that we read sort of an earlier version of the Declaration of Independence, which is found, believe it or not, in Sefer Devarim, in the book of Deuteronomy, which talks about how one controls a king. Especially, as you know, the Declaration of Independence freed us from kings, but it's a very interesting passage and probably written after King Solomon and inserted later on in this book of Deuteronomy, which we now date to about the 8th century before the Common Era. And here's what it says, and I'll read it in Hebrew with the translation. Ki tavo al haaretz asher Adonai Elohecha noten lecha lirishta, v'yeshavta ba v'yamarta asima alai melech kechol hagoyim asher tzevivotei. If after you have entered the land that Yahweh, your God, has assigned to you, and taken possession of it, and settled in it, you decide, I will set a king over me, as do all the nations about me. This refers, of course, to the story later on of Samuel, who doesn't want to appoint a king, but the people sort of force him to, and it begins the idea of kingship. The text then goes on, Som tasim alecha melech, asher yivchar Adonai Elohecha, bo, mikerev achecha tasim alecha melech, lo tuchal latet alecha ish nochri, asher lo achicha hu. You shall be free to set a king over yourself, one chosen by Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh, your God, and be sure to set as king over yourself one of your own people. You must not set a foreigner over you, one who is not your kinsman. Then it goes on, Rak lo yarbelo susim v'lo yashiv et ha'am mitzrayma, leman harbot sus v'Adonai malachem lo tosifun lashuv b'derech hazeh od. Moreover, he shall not keep many horses, or send people back to Egypt, to Mitzrayim, to a narrow place, if you will, leman harbot susim, to add to his horses, since Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh has warned you. You must not go back that way again. And it continues, V'lo yarbelo nashim, v'lo yasu levavo, v'chesef v'zav, lo yarbelo me'od. And he, the king, shall not have many wives, lest his heart go astray, nor shall he amass silver and gold to excess. Again, probably referring to Shlomo HaMelech, King Solomon, who was known for his stables and his horses and for his wealth. It goes on, V'haya keshifto al kisei mamlachto, v'chatav lo et ha-mishnah ha-Torah hazot al sefer milifnei ha-kohanim levi'im. And when he is seated on his royal throne, he shall have a copy of this teaching written for him on a scroll by the Levitical priest. Whether it means this particular paragraph or the entire book of Devarim is unclear. V'haita imo v'kara bo kol yemei chayav leman yilmad yira et Adonai Elohecha l'shmor et kol divrei haTorah hazot ha'chukim ha'eleh lasotam. And let this teaching remain with him, and let him read it in all of his life, so that he may learn to revere Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh, his God, to observe faithfully every word of this teaching as well as these laws. And finally, Levilti rum levavo me'achav, ulevilti sur ben mitzvah yamin u'smol leman yarich yamim al mamlachto hu uvanav bekerev Yisrael. And thus, by reading this teaching, he will not act haughtily towards his fellows, or deviate from the instruction to the right or to the left, to the end that he and his descendants may reign long in the midst of Israel. So, can't have a lot of horses, can't be too rich, can't have too many wives, and he can't be haughty and arrogant. What interesting criteria for a king. And of course, he's not above the law. His job is to read the law and to stick to it as much as he can. That's the description of the king that is to come in Sefer Devarim, chapter 17, starting at verse 14. So it's a really interesting way of seeing how we free ourselves from authority that can be abused. And we try to prevent the abuse of authority by having our king, whoever it will be well versed in what the law is, in reading, if you will, the Constitution, or reading the Torah, reading what is required of authority, and of course to be able to curb that king from excess. The 4th of July means a lot to me, as I said. It means a lot to all of us. And one of the songs that we sing on the 4th of July, I'm not going to sing it here, but I'm going to read it to you, is a song that I think should be the anthem of the United States, the American anthem. Oh, say, can you see the Star-Spangled Banner? It's got its issues, also hard to sing. But this is called America the Beautiful. And I want you to just pay attention to a verse that we never sing, which is the 3rd verse, or the 2nd verse, really. It starts off like this. How beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on you, and crown your good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful for pilgrim feet who stern impassioned stress, a thoroughfare for freedom beat across the wilderness. America, America, God mend thine every flaw. Confirm thy soul in self-control, thy liberty in law. Oh, beautiful for patriot dream that sees beyond the years, thine alabaster cities gleam undimmed by human tears. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. That was written by Catherine Lee Bates. Of course, the tune is very beautiful as well. But I love this hymn because it really does talk about the fact that our job is to mend every flaw, not to overlook every flaw, but to mend it. And the best way of mending a flaw for a nation is to learn self-control and find that real liberty, real freedom is found in law, not above the law. So we trust that this will be a good thought for our Shabbat this week. And I wish you all a happy 4th of July. And I hope that you're doing well in the confinements that you are in. I know I'm trying the best I can. And I hope to be joining you throughout the summer in different ways. So happy 4th of July. Shabbat Shalom.